Good evening and welcome to all of you who are here with us in the Commissioners Auditorium and those of you who are out there watching us on television. I welcome you to our meeting and I'll call it to order and we'll have our roll call by show of hand. Okay, everybody is present and I did not ask, Mr. McLaughlin, would you please do our invocation? Okay. And Mr. Farley, would you do the pledge?
My pleasure.
If you'll please stand.
Okay. Gracious Father, we come to give you thanks. Thank you for life, health, and strength. Ask that you bless this meeting, have it to be as you see please. As these blessed in thy holy name. Amen.
Amen.
Please face our flag. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I will ask for approval of the agenda, but we have two things that we may want to consider. The Baldwin Design Consultants under the public hearings, we're going to have to move until they get ready. They'll give us the sign. They're missing a few, either people or papers, I'm not sure. And Mr. Owens, did you have something you wanted us to change?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like, since we've been dealing with it for the last 2 hours, and we've got some people here that probably would prefer to leave, item number 12.2, I'd like to move that up for discussion or disposition at this time.
Okay, thank you. Does that?
I would like to move 11.6. I have a couple of questions.
To pull it off, or,
Yes.
okay, and
for
move it
discussion.
to decision, or when we're
Yeah.
discussing? Okay,
Motion to approve the agenda with those changes.
Second.
okay, all in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposition? Okay, then, we will, okay, I'm trying to find the, Tim Corley, if you would like to come forward at this time. And we have been meeting for the past couple of hours on the Pitt County Radio and Paging Enhancement Project Contract, and that's what we're moving up. So we have been meeting the past couple of hours on that. Yes, sir.
Yeah, good evening again. Just in summary, as you heard in our workshop, we're ready to move forward with the contract. The contract is ready to be executed. If y'all feel what you heard was pleasing, feel that the project is moving forward great, believe that the planned methodology of the project is good. We've got representatives from our consultant Kimball here, as well as our legal counsel, our communications expert legal counsel, as well as a few individuals from Motorola. So I'll be happy to answer any additional questions you may have, and what is the pleasure of the board?
Okay.
We about talked that out. Are you
Okay.
going to ask for a motion?
Yes, sir, we're
I
ready.
make a motion that we approve the contract.
Second.
Okay, the motion's been made and seconded. Any
Madam
discussion?
Chairman,
Yes.
Can I make a suggestion that the motion be contingent, that the base amount will have a 20% contingency, and also there were a few items in the contract that still had not been ironed out, minor details. There was one larger detail, the software license agreement, make the motion contingent upon
Those being earned.
legal counsel, internal, as well as the team that's been working on it, myself, Mr. Corley, Alan, Everett, Noel Lee. I think that's the gist of it.
It was software or something, wasn't it?
Yes,
Yes.
the software license agreement.
To
and
have
also-
all of that taken care of.
And the 20% contingency.
Okay. Is that okay to add that to
That's
your
fine.
motion?
That's fine.
And the second?
And this does include also the radio and paging project as well, even though it's funded separately.
Yes.
911.
I'm sorry, the backup 911, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any comments? Okay, then yes, sir.
Just one quick comment on the backup PSAP. Are we still exploring options to?
Yes, we've set a meeting up with the city manager, Barbara Lipscomb, and police chief, Mark Holtzman, to tour the proposed backup center at the Technology Enterprise Center. I think that's on tomorrow. Okay, thank you.
Do it
Thank you.
tomorrow, Wednesday.
Okay. Then we're ready to vote. All in favor of accepting the contract, please raise your hand. Any opposition? Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Corley. Okay. And if you all want to go get supper, you may. Or if you want to go continue working on the contract, either one. Okay, the next item we have is the presentation and recognition of our Eagle Scout.
Motion to accept.
Okay,
Second.
motion
Second.
to approve the
Second.
item in a second. All in favor,
Second.
raise your hand.
What we voting on?
The Eagle Scout. Oh. Invite you all to come forward, and your parents can come with you, and anyone else here, please do. Yes.
If you'd like a picture taken, we can have somebody take it if you would like.
That's okay.
Okay. You go ahead and proceed.
Okay, and yes, the manager will read our,
So tonight, we're recognizing Palmer London Lee. I guess before we present the certificate, we'd just like to, as we always do, as we do this periodically, state that Palmer has, you go by Palmer? Okay. Palmer is a Boy Scout who's earned the rank of Eagle Scout, and to do this, you have to advance within the organization of the Boy Scouts of America, but also you have to do a large project at the end that is involved with sometimes 100 or several hundred hours of volunteer time of Palmer himself, the Boy Scout, as well as other Boy Scouts who help him. And these projects benefit normally nonprofits or churches or organizations in the community that would benefit them. And also wanted to note that in Pitt County, the number of Boy Scouts that achieve the rank of Eagle is about double that compared to nationwide. So just wanted to point that out as well. So with that, would you like me to read it?
yes, please.
Okay, certificate of appreciation is awarded to Palmer London Lee for achieving the Eagle Scout Award. For his project, he built handicapped picnic benches for the Hope Lodge at the ECU Medical Campus. This certificate of recognition is presented by the Pitt County Board of Commissioners this 20th day of June, 2016. It's signed by our Chairman Beth B. Ward of the Pitt County Board of Commissioners.
Thank you. Congratulations, Paul. Thank you very much for being here. Congratulations, Mama and Daddy, because it takes all of you. Palmer, would you like to say anything? Usually they don't. We understand. But it is quite event when you consider, when you look at the whole list of projects, how many of these projects have benefited the county, the well-being of the county, our parks, our churches, all of that. And it's been a real asset to Pitt County. Thank you. Good luck. Okay, and we have another important employee recognition, a resolution of appreciation honoring Noel Lee III. And if he would come forward and bring his whole family with him, we would appreciate it.
Motion to
I
approve.
second.
Leslie.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, please raise your hand. Okay.
So what they gonna do with that one?
Our pockets like men do.
Proceed.
Yes.
Well, tonight we would like to recognize Noel Lee. Noel's been our emergency management director since February of 2004 and has served admirably to Pitt County, to the Board of Commissioners, Pitt County staff, Pitt County government. And would you like to introduce your family first?
Yes, do that.
By all means, this is my wife.
I'm doing it in order, okay?
Okay.
My grandson Trey, my youngest daughter Amy, my granddaughter Megan, my son-in-law Joey, and my oldest daughter Kim. Her husband couldn't be here tonight.
Okay.
Okay.
We're glad to have you all here.
So Noel is retiring, and the board has a resolution, and we'll go ahead and proceed
Yes,
with it.
please.
Resolution honoring Noel Lee III for his years of service with Pitt County government. Whereas Noel Lee III was hired February 6, 2004 in the position of Emergency Management Director with the Department of Emergency Management. And whereas Noel has served the citizens of Pitt County for 13 years and 4 months. Whereas in 2007, Noel successfully coordinated the rebanding of the 800 megahertz license to Pitt County. Whereas Noel helped with the development of several plans to include the commodity distribution, debris management, suspicious unknown substance, and special medical needs plans. Whereas Noel worked with North Carolina Emergency Management in the development and implementation of a regional special needs sheltering plan and the development and implementation of the Coastal Regional Evacuation System, also known as the CRES. And whereas Noel was instrumental in coordinating efforts during 3 federally declared disasters in 2010 and 2011, including Tropical Storm Nicole, Farmville tornadoes, and Hurricane Irene. Whereas Noel has helped the rewriting of the Emergency Medical Services Ordinance and development of the Emergency Medical Services Oversight Committee and helped with the creation of fire service districts for Pitt County. And whereas starting in 2010, Noel led efforts for the Federal Communication Commission mandate to narrowband the VHF radio and paging system by January 2013 and coordinated efforts for the rebanding and the P25 conversion of the Viper for Pitt County. Be it now therefore resolved that the Pitt County Board of Commissioners does hereby express its gratitude and thanks to Noel Lee III for his career of dedicated and exemplary service to the people of Pitt County and honor him with this resolution of appreciation given under our hands and seal of Pitt County, the 20th day of June 2016, signed by the Chair, Beth B. Ward, and attested by the Clerk, Kimberly Hines.
Speech.
Speech. Well, I'd just like to say thank you for the opportunity for working with the county. It's been good. It's been some ups and downs, but as all, it's been good. I wish everybody in the county good luck.
And good luck to you too. You enjoy it. Turn around that way.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Good to see you guys. Take care. Take care. Good to see you. Okay, our next item, public address to the board. Do we have anyone signed up?
Yes, we have one person signed up, Nancy Colville. She'll come forward, please. Give her name and address.
And I'll keep your time at 3 minutes.
Yes, please, thank you. And if you would repeat our
Absolutely.
kind of
Pitt County welcomes all comments on matters of public concern. Each speaker is allowed up to 3 minutes. I'll keep your time at 3 minutes. Please state your name and address prior to speaking, and all comments should be informative and constructive. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Nancy Colville. My address is on file. And I wrote this down so I know exactly, I don't forget anything. I'm here to address the manner in which you conducted the budget public hearing on June the 7th and the adoption of the upcoming budget. First of all, you did not have to approve the budget that night. Sometimes you do, and sometimes when there is a controversy, you don't. And all of you know that. You had over 2 weeks left to make sure that the new proposed budget was understood by all, including the unsuspected taxpayer, who were led to believe that you have already voted 4-3 to adopt one, I believe it was number 4, and everybody was okay with that. Secondly, why vote on something as important as the county budget when one of your members was absent? And there was no public input on the new adopted budget. Last but not least, why didn't you educate the taxpayers on the fact that the reason we have such a healthy fund balance now is because in 2014, you injected $6 million to the fund balance after the sale of the 1995 hospital bond. Fund balance increased an average of 1 to 2% a year. In 2014, it increased for over 4% because of the $6 million. I understand there is no additional sources of bonds or savings accounts that can be pulled into the fund balance down the line. And on top of that, why in the world did you say you have a revenue neutral budget when everybody's tax is going to go up 1 cent, 1.3 cents to pay for Pitt Community College bond? I mean, what difference does it make? We are having a property tax increase. So, you know, I'm sorry, I don't like to complain. We were all happy with the way it was. Nobody came to complain. Everybody came to thank you. And then there was a total U-turn. And we are disappointed. And, you know, the impression of those of us that were watching was that it was a charade. And, you know, perceptions are reality. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is our Pitt Greenville Airport. No, Kathy Booker, I'm sorry. Are you here? There you are. I looked up to see you, but I did not. Okay.
Madam Chair, I move to
Yes.
accept that report.
Second.
Okay, a motion has been made to accept the tax collection report. If we'll all vote, raise your hand. Okay. Any opposition? Okay, we'll move now to the airport report. Mr. Vickers and our chair, Mr. Banks.
Good evening, Chairman Ward, Commissioners, staff. Thank you for having us tonight. Our annual report back to the board. Before we get started on a slide presentation, there's 2 things I'd like to mention. As you know, Jerry's retiring at the end of the month, and we have appreciated him for close to 8 years now. Done a great job. We've had a lot of time and projects we've been through, and I've given him many tasks to complete, and we've gotten there. But we have a lot of work to be done. Upon Jerry's retirement, Betty Stansberry has come in to take Jerry's job. She is not taking his job, but taking the position. Betty's from Purdue University Airport. She's been there 15 years. She moved to the better weather airport. She'll have more warm weather than she had in Purdue. Her background is 15 years at Purdue University Airport, and she's worked at Houston Airport and also in Oregon. Is that correct? So she has a wealth of knowledge working in the airport arena, and she's also has some good experience at Purdue University in economic development, which is dear and near to our hearts, trying to get more revenue out of what we got to work with, and maybe some fresh ideas to help us move forward. So I'll thank her for coming, and thank Jerry. Good luck on his retirement, because I know his golf swing's going to improve. Let's move right into the presentation. Really 3 things to talk about tonight: commercial air service, recruitment of a second airline, hangar development project, capital project overview, and PGV economic impact. Wrong button. There you go. We currently have 4 flights a day to and from Charlotte. We had 5 at one time, but we're back to 4. And those planes are normally pretty full. They're usually running about 84% capacity, coming and going. And we have 3 jets and 1 turboprop. That 1 turboprop may be going out of service and it be replaced in the near future by another jet. They're buying more jets to replace those, and they have more maintenance issues with that airplane than any other one, and plus it can carry more passengers. So that may help in the near future. We don't have a timeline for it, but we're hoping it'll be sooner than later. SCSI grant, that's coming up again this year. We put our application in. Hopefully we'll hear something toward the end of July. We apply for it every year. If we get the grant, there's no guarantee that we would get another airline. But that money, if we do get the grant, is an enticement for the airlines to come here and to give them a foundation to start out if we can encourage them to come to Greenville. So we're working on that diligently. As Commissioner Farley and Commissioner Garris knows, every meeting, every month, that's on the agenda, and it's talked about every month. They have progress reports, and we get questions from our city and county, but we are diligently working on it. But it takes time. The airlines have to make their minds up. Corporate hangars. With the agreement we have with the county for the past year, we came in April, I believe it was, gave you a brief presentation on that, and that aircraft's been here now. The lease has been complete. With it, they're there for 3 years. The second hangar has 5 aircraft in it that are temporary. They're not based here yet, and we want to get based aircraft because based aircraft produces tax revenue. So we're working on a couple of those aircraft to have them hopefully be based here so the city and county can get their revenue from property taxes. But they are producing revenue, which is going back into our capital fund and not the operations of the airport. So that goes back into that agreement we had to go back and replenish that money. Okay, that's an example of one of the jets that stays in that hangar. We have been happy with our success on this, but we would like to have them more based here. They're both full now. So one hangar's full, this one's full, but we're working on having permanent residents rather than just visitors. Okay. Our runway extension was completed this year, $6.9 million project. And that runway extension was because of the FAA making us extend the runway for safety runoff area. The runway was long enough at the time before we did this to accommodate any size jet that came in here. We had ECU charters coming in and out, the visiting teams coming in and out. This is just give it a more marginal and extra area for runoff for the aircraft. So it was not to accommodate bigger airplanes coming in here because they came in here already. So that was just for safety reasons. We upgraded our security camera system. As you know, the TSA mandates so much security at the airport each year. We have to accommodate those needs. They're constantly being upgraded. New cameras, as you're upgrading some of your security now, is much better than it was 5 years ago, 3 years ago. So we've had to do the same thing. That is currently about 97% complete. It should be complete next week or two. So that's an added benefit for us. 2 things we did this past year before I get into the future capital projects. We had our yearly audit. Stanley Flowers did our yearly audit. We came out fine. We were in the guidelines of the League of Municipalities. There's no irregularities. But also during the year, we had a balance sheet. We couldn't get our budget and our expenses to balance. We worked internally to overcome that. We couldn't do it. We had an outside accounting agency come in. They found the problem. It was just a ledger entry we didn't do right. This was discussed previously with the finance director. We had meetings about it. Everything was above board. Everything balanced out perfectly. We just didn't do it internally correctly the way the first time. So that was a non-factor, and we moved on with that. Our future capital projects. We'll have in 2016, we're working on replacing 0220 runway lights. Those lights wear out like everything else. They're very old, and the FAA has given us funding for $3 million, and we've already started that project. Jerry's handed that off to Betty, and we're running with that. In 2017, the whole runway will have to be replaced. It has to be ground down, resurfaced. The lifespan of a runway is like a road. You have so many years before it crumbles or can't handle the weight. And so we're having a project coming up in 2017. We're trying to get it sooner than later. Jerry and Betty are having meetings on that, trying to get that pushed forward more. There's no safety problem now, but we want to do it while it's still not an issue, and the FAA is presenting funding for that. 2018, 2021, there'll be about $19 million of capital improvements through the FAA for the airport. We get standard money each year, but we have to apply for certain grants, and we are very diligent at the airport at looking to find more revenue to keep our safety issues in check at the airport and also make our passengers and staff easier place to work. Big numbers. I think if you remember back last year, I reported, I think it was $93 million this time last year of economic input into Pitt County. It's gone up to $103 million. So that's about an $8 to $10 million jump in 12 months. That's significant. $103 million, that's a lot of money into the local community. It's not direct jobs, but it's the trickle-down economics we have of passengers coming to hotels, renting cars, buying gas, buying food, and employees. And this was not done by the airport. NC State and the Department of Transportation in Raleigh, our North Carolina Department of Transportation, does this annually, and we like to see what we have there for impact in our community. So it's very significant. By the way, there you go. Questions?
Any questions? Yes, Mr.
No,
Hammond?
ma'am, I just wanted him to introduce to all of us the new young lady that's standing to your left.
This is Betty Stansberry and Mr. Vickers, Jerry Vickers.
Well, we
Jerry's
know
been
him.
8 years. So and I'm John Banks. I forgot to do that to begin with.
Okay.
I
Yes,
do
sir,
think
Garrett.
we're very fortunate to have Betty to come on board. We had an extensive interview with her, and she performed very well in that interview, and the board was unanimous in asking her to come, and she accepted, and we are fortunate to have her. Welcome aboard. Hate to see you leave, Jerry, but totally understand that your wife has many things for you to do, and you need to go home and get them done.
And if you would you like to make a comment, or?
Thank you. I am honored to have been given the opportunity to come serve the community. And I'm looking forward to working with the commission, the city council, and the community in advancing the economic development of this community and improving the services that we provide to the community.
Okay, good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And welcome to Pitt County.
Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
those revenue figures that John spoke about caught my ear. Very impressive.
Yes.
We don't realize, the former chairman of the board, Donald Taylor, one time said, we're the gateway to Eastern North Carolina. And we bring people from all over the world here through Greenville. They come here, they do business, they go to medical school, they go to East Carolina, they come visit local businesses. We're very blessed to have it. We try to take good care of it, be a good steward of the money. And it's surprising how much money that does generate in the county. It's very impressive. One thing she forgot to say, Betty forgot to say, she was also a professor at Purdue, which is near and dear to your heart.
Yes.
So she taught students aviation at Purdue, and she's a very gifted individual on that subject. So we look forward to her carrying the torch from Jerry. So thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you, and welcome again.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Mr. Rhodes, I think we can move back up to you. This is item number 1 under public hearings.
Apologize for the technical difficulties, but I understand we now have it going.
Okay.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. We have one rezoning request for your consideration tonight. It was brought to us through Baldwin Design Consultants, and this is property owned by Linda Stokes. This is located on Eastern Pines Road. I'll show you a map in just a minute. It is one parcel that is about 5.3 acres. The request before you tonight is to rezone from rural residential to general commercial conditional district, and this is specifically for a self-storage facility. Just as a reminder, with these conditional districts, you'll get a site plan. We'll go through that in a minute, and you'll get to see the specifics of what is being proposed on the property itself. Again, to orient you a bit, up in the far left corner is Greenville's extraterritorial jurisdiction. If you're coming from Portertown Road on towards Eastern Pines Fire Department, just outside of the ETJ, is Brittany Ridge subdivision, also Brandy Creek subdivision. This site is somewhat in between the two, right along Eastern Pines Road. Here's the site blown up, and just some of the features on this site. This is the boundary, about 5.3 acres total again. Fronts on to Eastern Pines Road here. You can kind of see there's a curve here in the road. This is the entranceway to Brandy Creek subdivision, 2 entryways to Brittany Ridge on either side of the property, 2 or 3 lots down. Several self-storage buildings are being proposed, about 60,000 square foot in total on this tract. There are some screening requirements. You can see how that's shown on the map all the way around the perimeter, as well as a chain link fence and some actual barbed wire that would be installed for security purposes. There's also along the back property line and one of the sides a 50-foot riparian buffer, and that needs to be protected, and that is also where some of the required screening is going to be located. Again, to give you an idea of what types of uses are in this area, the blue area is the extraterritorial jurisdiction of the city of Greenville. Off to the east or to the right here is the ETJ of the village of Simpson. So Brittany Ridge is somewhat in between those 2 ETJs. This area is right here along Eastern Pines Road, and you can see the gold or the brown color here. That is all residential use. There are some undeveloped properties shown in green. There's also just a couple of small commercial uses shown in red. One is Little A's Automotive Shop. The other is a now closed daycare. Those are the only 2 commercial areas in the sea of residential uses. And again, our land use plan that we typically develop our recommendations from shows this as suburban residential, and again, developing more as an intense residential area. Suburban residential has a mix of uses and predominantly residential, and there are allowances for certain types of other uses provided they meet certain locational criteria. Again, this is our current zoning map. Certainly reflects closely what our current land uses are out there. Basically, the green area here is all rural residential, and that's what the current property we're looking at tonight is zoned as. And there are 2 small general commercial sites, one for the daycare, one for the automotive shop. The general commercial district, and that's what the request is before you tonight, to actually rezone from rural residential to general commercial, is intended to accommodate a range of retail and service-oriented facilities, and it's typically on major thoroughfares and also has the necessary utilities provided to the site. The conditional district allows for the proposed specific use, in this case a self-storage facility, with reasonable conditions. You could see that there might be a need for additional conditions tonight, provided that helps it fit into the neighborhood better. And again, self-storage facility. Staff has reviewed this, and our recommendation's been consistent from the beginning. We feel like that this land use plan is not consistent with the land use plan, and doesn't meet the locational criteria for non-residential uses in the suburban residential category. It's located within a heavily populated residential area with very few general commercial properties in there. We also believe that the request is not reasonable and is not in the public interest because of the residential nature of the area. And this is a relatively large scale. If you saw the lot, about 5.3 acres as compared to even the two smaller general commercial areas, it is much larger scale, more intensive types of development there that are non-residential being proposed. Again, staff recommended denial, as did the planning board when the planning board reviewed it at its May 18th meeting. So with that, Madam Chair, we're ready for our public hearing tonight.
Okay. I'll declare our public hearing open. Do we have anyone signed up?
Yes, Madam Chairman, you have 4 people signed up, plus you have a letter in front of you from Alan Brannigan.
Okay.
But the first person signed up is Pamela Johnson.
Okay, if you'll come forward, Ms. Johnson, and if you will give us your name, please, and your address.
I have a handout also.
Okay.
Commissioners. And my name is Pam Johnson. I live at 5075 Eastern Pines Road. I am not in the area that abuts the proposed rezoning, but I am about a block away, and I would be driving by there every day. What I'm handing out to you is what I've just done over the past week. The first section is the number of mini storages that are located within a 3-mile radius of the rezoning request. There are 7 at least. And what I've done in there is I've given you the name of those storages, their address, and their phone numbers if you'd like to double check, and the units that they currently have available. And from what they've told me, they operate at about 80% capacity. The second section, again, is each of those 7 storage units listed with the current number of units, which altogether would equal 1,894. The next column says that you'll note that from the first section, at least 3 of these storage centers are expanding. So the potential in 1 year is 2,544 units within a 3-mile radius of this rezoning request. And again, at 80% occupancy, the next little column, the 2 numbers, shows the available units today, which would be 535 available units that are not rented. So if this company wants to install about 500 units, we already have 500 units available. So again, we have a glut of mini storages in our neighborhood. And again, we're a residential neighborhood. So I've showed you what's available today, and what would potentially be available at 80% occupancy in 1 year would be 509. If you look back up, you can see that in the very first section, what's called student storage number 7 is 0% occupancy right now because that was newly purchased by another company. So that's 51 units that are getting updated and ready to go. And you can see also what ample storage number 2, it has currently 250 units operating, but their plan is to have 600 total in the next year open and available. If you look down, what I did also was I just, where it says Ms. Stokes, that 4th section, in my opinion, if we change this 5 acres to commercial from the residential that it currently is, you're opening up a Pandora's box. She does own other properties in the area that once something is commercial in our neighborhood, I would fear that it's easier then for other large tracts of land to become rezoned to commercial, and then we have more than 1 mini storage or other commercial endeavors in our family neighborhood. So again, you can see that there are multiple available properties in our Eastern Pines Road and Ivy Road area that are open tracts of lands that are undeveloped, either farmland or just open land that could potentially be rezoned if once we, again, break the ceiling and allow commercial in our neighborhood. The last section, I just drove around today and I looked on North Carolina Highway 33 East on 10th Street within a 1 mile off of the rezoning request area. And in that 1 mile, there are at least 6 large parcels that are zoned commercial. And so technically, they could go to be mini storages also. And again, we've already got a glut of at least 500 available at present. And again, it would just seem not a very smart business endeavor to add another whole mini storage to an area that's got at least 7 and potentially that many more. If you have any questions,
Okay.
I hope it's clear if you have any questions about what I've written.
Okay, thank you very much. Does anybody have a question they'd like to ask?
Was
Okay.
she supportive
That's-
of?
No.
Oh, no, I don't support it. I would like
No.
it to, and I don't.
I want to clearly understand.
Thank you so much. And again, I
She
don't
just
want
wanted to make sure
I
that
don't want to
was the-
deny a family the opportunity to develop their property, because it can be housing or a little, you can have 3 to 5 little houses on that property, and I think they said it doesn't perk, which is a problem anyway. But I'm sure that somewhere could be found that they could perk at least 3 properties on that, and then that would enrich our neighborhood. One other thing, and so sorry, you can see here on Arbor Hills development, the 1, 2, 3, 4th section down where it says Clark Homes, they're building, they have at least 15, almost 16 acres where they're building new houses right now. And that will exit onto Eastern Pines Road. And so we have potentially 50 to 60 more residences that will be exiting onto our road. So again, the mini storage would impact the transportation back and forth on that road, in addition to these other 60, or up to 60 houses or more maybe, that would be using that road also as far as traffic and hazards.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
all right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next.
Next, we have Chuck Daniker.
Yes. Okay, if you'll come forward and identify yourself and give us your address.
Yes, good evening. My name is Chuck Daniker, and I live at 1964 Cherry Stone Lane, and that's in the Brandy Creek subdivision. And I'm speaking against the proposed rezoning. Very much appreciate your time this evening. Unfortunately, I don't have a great number of facts to deliver, other than I drive down Brandy Creek Road every day. I am here in Greenville, coming from another community. Lived here about 9 years, and the residential nature of Eastern Pines is part of what makes that a nice area to develop. Both my kids graduated from D.H. Conley, and again, the idea of coming home and looking off to my left to see a huge storage facility with barbed wire at the top of it is completely inconsistent with why I picked the home where I picked my home. I think we've had, certainly the facts as presented, also your own staff, the zoning that was intended for this area, all speak to the intent to continue to develop this area as residential, as the highest and best use of the property. And I do agree that the potential for other commercial property in an area really degrades the community, the ability to, go out on your bike with your family, take a ride around the different residential areas. Again, coming past an area that's fenced with barbed wire really runs counter to what I would see as my idea of where I would want to purchase a home and have my family live. I very much appreciate your time this evening. I know it's been a long day for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming. We appreciate your participation in the process.
Next, we have Mike Baldwin.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson and Commissioners. My name's Mike Baldwin. I represent Miss Linda Stokes. I'm sure a lot of y'all know Miss Stokes. She's the widow of Mr. Wayne Stokes, who passed away last year. Extremely large farmer at one time, and developed Brittany Ridge subdivision, along with he and Mr. Leon Hardy developed that together. He developed several other subdivisions, Lynchburg along Eastern Pines Road, as well as Brandy Creek. Mr. and Miss Stokes lived across the street. I think Mr. Stokes had lived there all his life. Miss Stokes has been there since the 1950s. Her daughter and her son-in-law live right next door to her, right across from this piece of property. Chris, her son, lives right around the corner in the immediate Eastern Pines area. This 5 acres represents the central hub of what used to be the farming operations of Mr. Wayne Stokes. You ride by several tobacco warehouses in Greenville. We all know Pitt County's the capital, highest tobacco producing county of any county in the state. You see Mr. Stokes' name on these warehouses. Mr. Stokes gave a lot, and his family, to the community. On the site, you have an office building, you have several storage buildings, you have pole shelters, you have plenty of gravel access areas that just run throughout the site. You have concrete pads where the old bulk barns used to be. Ms. Stokes has got a nice house across the street. She's got nice subdivisions across the street that her husband developed. She plans to manage this from her home. She wouldn't dare do anything that would be intrusive to the neighborhood. What we have is a unique situation of, it is 5 acres, but it does have buffers on it. It's got a lot of driveway area, so it's just not 5 acres of buildings. It's about a little less than an acre and a half of buildings. Based on some rough estimation, there comes up to about 300 units in there. What the existing buildings, the existing concrete pads, and existing gravel areas prevents is residential development of this property. The Pitt County Health Department won't allow septic systems under these already impervious packed areas. As shown on the site plan that James presented, you'll have a remote operated security gate. You'll have a decorative fence with columns, ornamental fencing along the front. There is a security gate of fencing around the sides and rear with slats in it to prevent a visual barrier, to allow a visual barrier. You'll have heavy landscaping. You'll have wall-packed lighting on the front of the buildings versus aerial. You'll have controlled water runoff, not to exceed what's already there. Hours of operation from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. What you won't have is high peak hour traffic. People don't go to mini storage facilities during the morning business hour, high traffic areas, going to work and coming home. They go there in the evenings and on the weekends. I have 3 mini storage units from where we got, when the economic decline hit and my business suffered, and I go to them all the time to get archives, and it's pretty much like a ghost town out there. I'm the only one. You also don't have, some people have problems with their next door neighbors. You don't have neighbors at a mini storage facility. You don't, allowed under this zoning is up to 5 mobile homes on this piece of property. You don't have that. What mini storage does provide, or self-storage, is very little traffic. You've got 0.25 trips per day per unit. That's 75 trips per day. If it was 5 houses, 6 houses, that averages 10 trips per day per house. That's 60. So you don't have a lot of trip increase, and the trip increase is during non-peak hours. And that's key to some of the concerns that have been echoed. If constructed properly, which I know it will be, it'll be aesthetically pleasing. I've seen plenty of aesthetically pleasing. Can I have just a few more?
One more minute if
All
you'll
right.
get it done.
I can. No late night visits, just by nature. Some neighborhoods have teenagers. Some neighborhoods have adults that have late night visitors. I feel mini storage is a low impact commercial use. Suburban residential does allow for it under the idea that if I give you enough information and this condition request has enough links to it that can be done properly. I sent letters, and I'm going to close on this, to the adjoining property owners in advance. I've had one call me and none of the adjoining property owners are at this meeting. I have friends that live in Brandy Creek as well as Brittany Ridge. Just as many have spoke that said they don't have a problem. They won't come to the meeting. But just as many, 3, that don't have problems with it. But that's for this board to make a decision on, and I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. Any questions at this time? Okay,
Thank y'all.
thank you.
We have one last person signed up, Pamela Franks.
My name is Pamela Franks. I live directly across the storage unit proposed, 4946 Eastern Pines Road.
Just down, there you go.
I don't want the storage unit there. The value of my land I have 3 acres of land already, and I live right behind Mrs. Stokes. Love the family to death. They're great neighbors, love them. I love Mr. Wayne. I couldn't ask for better neighbors, but a storage unit is just not what I want. The value of my land is what I need to make sure for an investment of mine. I have 3 acres, and eventually when my son gets out of D.H. Conley, we plan on probably moving eventually in the long term. I want to make sure that my investment that I made stays in an investment and not depreciates. Mrs. Stokes will live there the rest of her life. That's a family land there. It's always been a family land. Like he said, Mr. Stokes probably was born in Grandma's house. Grandma's house is still there. Daughter lives there. Chris lives up the road. I mean, when Miss Linda passes away, I'm sure one of the children will get and the grandchildren will get. They'll always stay there. That is family land to them. They will never sell. But the value of the property is something that I'm really concerned about. Traffic, I have a child that is in school. The school bus driver will make sure she goes all the way around to make sure he gets picked up on my driveway side of the road because we're on a curve and some people just don't stop and they miss that school bus. And I've asked them several times to have a sign up there, and they put it out there years ago and then they took it back down. But the traffic is, that's a dangerous curve right there. I just, having that storage unit next door is not what I really want to see and have that traffic coming out. I've seen several accidents happen, people not paying attention when someone's turning left and they're barreling down that road. It's a 45-mile zone, and I can rest assure you, not everybody's doing 45 on that road. It's more like 55, 60 if they can get away with it. I have an issue with the drainage, the water issue, the ditch from Brittany Ridge. It all kind of comes in there. The tile underneath the road is too small. There's water coming on the side of the road ditch. There's water coming from Brittany Ridge ditch, comes underneath. I have a 5-foot tile, if not bigger, wide, lengthwise, and it's still rushing over the road itself and on into my property and kind of floods my driveway a tad bit. So we're trying to fix that now. But, when you put a storage unit in there, what are you going to do with the water drainage? It's not going to be, you got concrete asphalt. Where's that water going to go? Into the ditch again that we can't handle right now, that we're having a hard time dealing with. So it's just a little bit of issues. I'm not so sure if I want to have a storage unit that's opened until 10 o'clock at night like that. It's just cause for traffic, Don't want people sitting out there waiting, looking, watching, I know it's a storage unit, but what are they going to store? Are they going to be able to run an operation out there? Some people do storage units where they run like construction. They have their materials in their unit, and then they go in there and leave, and I just don't really want that there, Really looking at the value. It is a great street, We're out in the country, and not many people have a whole lot of land out there. You try to find 3 acres of land somewhere in that area, you're not going to find it. Like to keep it residential as much as possible.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, is that it?
Yes.
Okay, is there anyone who didn't get in to sign up to speak? Okay, let me declare the public hearing closed. Oh, excuse me? I did not have a chance to sign. Okay, well, you can come up and identify yourself, please, and tell us where you live.
Hi. My name is Sandra Kinsey. I would like to say that I agree with my neighbors. I do not want this storage unit. We moved to the area, we live three houses east of the proposed zoning change. We did get a letter talking about this change, so I am one of the neighbors who is not in favor of it. We moved to the area about 12 years ago, and it's a lovely, lovely, quiet neighborhood. We enjoyed seeing the farm machinery come from this spot, go down the road, and I would hate to see a barbed wire enclosed area. I would absolutely hate to see it. I believe we would not have bought a house in this area if we had seen a barbed wire enclosed storage unit. And I did a little bit of research. I mean, I wasn't happy about it at all, but I did a bit of research, and there have been instances where storage units are actually used for unscrupulous things. For instance, storage of illegal substances with trafficking of illegal substances. Now, people could come into the area absolutely not in the neighborhood, come into the area, and we're in such a quiet spot, it would almost be a good spot to do something illegal. Storage and sale of firearms has occurred in storage units, and also storage of stolen goods. So I'm not saying this would absolutely happen there, but there are instances across the country where this has happened. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else that didn't have an opportunity to sign up to speak? Okay, then now I'll declare the public hearing closed. And if there are any commissioners who have any questions or comments that you'd like to ask of James?
Dave had his hand up, if you didn't see him.
Okay, Dave?
Yes, ma'am, Madam Chairman. I've heard the neighbors talk, and I heard the lady make her presentation. And Mr. Rose said that the property did not meet the land use plan, so I would like the motion that it be denied. Thank you.
Okay, is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Okay, the motion has been made and seconded. Is there any other part, Mr. Rhodes, that you need stated?
No, ma'am.
Okay, just to accept the recommendation of the board. Okay, any comments from any other commissioners? Okay, all in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. Okay, all opposed? Okay, then it's denied. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, our next item is a report from commissioners traveling to the NACO annual conference. And Mr.
Start with me.
Webb, we'll start with you.
All right, great. So, as you know, I'm vice chair of the Justice and Public Safety Committee for NACO. And just to give you an idea of some things that are current legislative goals, we are looking for the federal government to continue to fund our JAG grants, and that's something that we use here in the county. We have, as a matter of fact, I think it's time for a renewal on that. The Mentally Ill Offender Treatment and Crime Reduction Act. And I'm not asking, what I'm asking everybody to do is also go to the NACO website, take a look at them, and see if there's any position the board wants to take on any of these. I'm just telling you where NACO is on them right now.
Right.
But they're supporting this, this act to help reduce the amount of mentally ill people in our jails. The Emergency Management Performance Grant, they're opposing the combination or combining all of these into one block grant and asking that Congress make it a requirement that 70% of these funds from the EMPG go through local government instead of state government. And they're also supporting the Second Chance Act to help reduce recidivism in our jails. Some things coming up, those are current issues. Some things coming up will be a lot to do with FEMA. And what they want to do is have FEMA change one of its rules on the concentration of damage when it comes to people filing claims. The way it's currently done, the concentration of damage, it benefits your urban areas more than your rural, and so it wants to give rural people more of an opportunity to be able to apply for these FEMA funds on an individual basis. And asking that they reauthorize the National Flood Insurance Program and put a 3-year statute of limitation on deobligating local funds, and that's currently in Congress under H.R. 1471. That keeps, when local governments appeal a FEMA decision, a FEMA can immediately take the funds that they've approved until the appeal is worked out. So we're asking that that not happen until after the appeal is worked out. And there's another one, the last one for justice and public safety is dealing with the disaster deductible. When they set that deductible through FEMA, that could cause local governments like ourselves a lot of extra money in meeting, if we have a hurricane or a tornado, in meeting those deductibles before we're eligible for federal assistance. But that's all from justice and public safety.
Okay, so there's these are some of the items that are going to be discussed and reported on and voted on at our national annual conference for county commissioners. And these are the commissioners who are going to be attending. Mr. Farley, do you have anything you'd like to add, or Mr. McLaughlin?
Well, no, under the grants to help with the system of cameras, they always try to find more money in terms of providing a camera system for our law enforcement, and hopefully we'll be able to see some and hopefully secure some grant money that we can identify for camera system for our sheriffs and law enforcement. And various other cost-effective projects, many times they have that could benefit the county in terms of saving monies in areas of our county security and other areas. So we're going to be looking at those areas to try to bring back some very cost-effective savings for the county.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chairman, I just want to point out too, I'll email these through the clerk, so they are position paper, so the more detail than the brevity I gave you would be included, so every commissioner can review what we're looking at on that committee for NACO, and then just supply any feedback, whether it's in our next meeting or directly through the manager.
And after the meeting, we always have a nice report from one of you to report for everybody, or everybody will have an opportunity to report.
Madam
Mr.
Chairman,
Farley?
I just want to mention that I will be speaking, well, you're speaking in front of the Justice and Public Safety Committee. I'll be speaking in front of the Transportation Committee.
Okay.
And this goes back to last year, working with our sheriff and the police chief on the underfundment of the TSA security mandate out at the airport. So we have some real traction on that, and I'll be glad to give a full report when we come back.
Good, thank you very much. Okay, our manager's report is next. Mr. Elliott?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. First item is your next meeting dates. You have one meeting in the month of July on July the 18th at 9 a.m. That's due to the NACO conference, the National Association of Counties that you just spoke of. And then your first meeting in August will be August 1st at 9 a.m. The second item on the manager's report deals with department head recruitments. As we recognize tonight, the emergency management director position will be vacant as of July 1. I just want to let the board know I'm going to use a process like we've used the last 2 times since I've been here. To have a committee, we'll have a rep from the Fire Association, a rep from EMS, myself, somebody from HR, may have another internal party to vet the candidates for that position. Have on that one, at this point, advertised internally, and then the committee will go from there. Also, the Director of Public Information and Media Relations, as you're aware now, has resigned, and we will begin that recruitment process as well.
Okay.
Item C, the courthouse security improvements. We are just about complete on that, and we are targeting, I believe it's Monday, July the 5th, for it will be the opening date when we will open the Evans Street entrance to the courthouse, which will become the new public entrance. The parking lot improvements, the security fencing around the perimeter of the lot, and the access cards will all be issued. We have come to, I think, a very reasonable conclusion and accommodation of the reassignment of parking back in that secure lot that the different users of the courthouse will be amenable to. We've met with them in a group meeting. We've met with them individually. We'll be meeting back with them in a group meeting to roll out the proposal, but I don't think anybody will have any complaints. Again, all this will come to a conclusion. The temporary signage that is up now directing folks how to access and get around the courthouse will be changed to permanent signage in terms of directing them to the Evans Street side for the permanent entrance. The access cards, as I understand it, will be are being looked at by the security committee within the courthouse to streamline those and to assign those. And all the details that we've presented formally to you are still in place and nothing's changed. But did want to let you know that we are coming, the contractor is coming to a conclusion on that. Probably have another 2 weeks to go, and then that will all be in place. All the screening equipment through the sheriff's office, everything we've talked about will be complete.
Okay.
Man,
Is that it?
Yeah, we'll have one other
Okay.
item.
I have a question.
Yes.
About the internal posting, is that a permanent posture for that position?
At this time, depending upon the number of applicants that apply and the strength of those applicants, again, working with the committee, I'll use their input to make that decision as to what, who's to be offered the position within that. If after receiving the internal applicants and we interview, if the committee recommends to potentially look outside, I'll consider their input or as I've told the committee in the past, I value their input. However, this is a position you have delegated to me to hire at the end of the day. Unless you direct me otherwise, I'll make that decision, again, unless you direct me otherwise.
I guess my concern on it is that I think it would be a very desirable position for people, not that, I'm sure we have people that meet the qualifications, but I just think, especially with the radio and paging system going in, that, that's going to be one of the most important emergency management items that we're spending $4.7 million on, and I would like somebody that has that kind of experience. And do we have any experts currently employed by us in that area?
No, I'm not sure. We want someone that can actually do. I'm saying you probably want both, but obviously the first would be to have the emergency management skills, and I believe there are some internal candidates that could meet that minimum qualifications.
I have no doubt we have quality people. I just, on such a high-profile position within the county, I would hate to just limit us to internal only, but that's my comments on it.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Scott, what do you mean by internal candidates? Internal to the county?
Yeah, we've advertised across.
When you say the county government?
Yeah, thank you for clarifying that. Across all departments within county government, all
All right.
1,000 employees.
What about if there's somebody within Pitt County that's with a municipality? Would they be given a shot?
At this point, it's only, we have the opportunity to recruit, advertise within the organization and promote, and also we have the opportunity to do both concurrently or
Well, I'd like to make a recommendation that before you just arbitrarily hire somebody into that it be brought back to the board and we get to discuss it. And there may be some of us members that actually know of some other people that might want to be considered, or should be considered.
I would just, again, I'll do as the board directs me, but in the past, the presence has been for the manager to make the hiring decisions of the department heads. I don't want to step on any toes, but.
Okay, Mr. Garris.
I really don't feel like that is necessary, Tom, because that is something that we have delegated to our manager, and we're going to hold him accountable to do the right thing. And as far as the internal, I am always supportive of hiring internal within our county of those people, assuming they qualify and meet the criteria. If we have someone that meets that criteria that's already on our payroll, that's already been contributing to the county, then I would certainly prefer to give that person the opportunity than someone outside of county government. Now, if we don't have anyone that meets the criteria, then of course we would go outside.
Okay, Mr. McLaughlin?
That was my concern, Scott, and we may have somebody already internally that has applied, I don't know, but I think that is certainly would be a cost saving to the county if we have somebody internally that would, meet the recommendation and qualifications for this position, and I'm sure that you may have already looked at that, but I'm hoping that
Yes.
you do look at that, and we can move forward. I'm for saving the county as much money as we can, and also for doing the job, a person doing the job and capable of doing so.
Okay,
Madam Chair.
Mr. Yes, sir.
I have no problems with the manager determining who we need to fill this position with.
Okay. And Mr. Hammond, you had your hand up?
No, I don't have a comment.
Okay.
He satisfied me with his explanation.
Okay. Mr. Webb,
Yes,
did
ma'am.
you?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chairman. I just want to say, I do agree with Jimmy and Melvin and Mr. Owens as well on, but I just think in a position like this, if we automatically hire from internally, the cries of the good old boy system will come. And I think it only increases the veracity of the selection if we have a wider pool, and that person if we have a person in the organization that is the best candidate, then that just proves even more that they are. And that's what I'm talking about, is just that if we go automatically and only go internally without outside competition, then I think it weakens the position of the candidate coming in. I mean, I'm sure we have qualified
You want to
people.
make a motion?
I'm asking the manager. I'm seriously. I get that
think
point.
he's answered
Okay,
all
I
I'm
get it.
saying. In other
But I
words,
just
if
don't want to
we-
be in a position. I'm not trying to micromanage the process. I'm just asking that be considered.
And we have delegated that authority to him, and Scott, I'm holding you accountable to get the right person.
Exactly.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
But the
So
point is if we limit it only to somebody that's currently working for the county, and Jimmy, I agree with you, I try to promote from within as much as I can. But Pitt County's a big county, and there's a lot of talented people in the municipalities and other areas that potentially is, if we just say we're gonna have only internal county employees even considered, you won't know whether you're getting the best. And so I think what's Glenn is really driving at, and I kind of agree with, let's open it up and hope that Scott, you would have if the board is gonna go ahead and grant you what you've already been granted in the past, you at least look at other people that might, or is it gonna be an advertised position? Or it sounds like it's not.
Well, it's advertised internally.
Internally.
If you don't. Explain the next step, though, if, for instance, there is not, and you have criteria
Right.
for this job. There's a job description, correct?
Correct.
And once you do it internally, what happens?
We will, we're advertising internally. We will receive the applications, make sure those meet the minimum qualifications that are then referred to me. I would then call the committee together to interview the applicants. If there's a candidate that just stands out that the committee makes a recommendation, I feel should be offered the position, we could offer the position. If the committee makes a recommendation, hey, let's hold the internal candidates who are qualified at bay, interview a few outside ones. If we decided to go that route, then we could then go the next step and then consider the whole lot of them. I guess I just would ask the board to trust me. Again, I'm using and this is not a usual process where we pull someone from the Fire Association and someone from the EMS Association in, but since this position does so directly work with those two groups, I kind of make an exception to use outside folks to help this outside associations. We use outside people sometimes to help through an interview panel, but this is actually giving the two associations a voice in vetting the candidates.
I just
One
want our
question.
selection to be in the strongest position they can when they come in. That's the only motivation.
I agree.
My question is a technical question. You said you consider county employees first. What if the person works for the Pitt County Development Corporation, the Convention Authority, the Airport Authority? Are they considered?
No,
in that
only
group?
if
They're
only
not.
if you're on the only if you're an
Okay,
employee
that
of
would
Pitt
be
County
going
government.
outside.
The
Okay,
payroll.
Correct.
Okay.
okay, that is defined by the payroll.
I am okay with our
Moving
manager
on.
handling that as he has handled it in the past.
Okay.
And I trust him to get the most qualified person.
For the lowest
First
price.
step being to look internally, and if there are no qualified persons that meets the criteria, then we go outside.
Okay, and I think that's the consensus, is what I'm
Good
hearing.
guideline.
Okay,
One other item.
excuse me?
One other item for the
Yes.
report. It's not on the agenda, but Commissioner Farley asked me to mention that he's been accepted into the Advanced Leadership Corps. That will be a class that will be offered at UNC Chapel Hill in September, and recently received that notification and asked for us to make that public.
Okay.
Motion to approve the consent agenda
Thank
with
you.
the exception of item 6.
Okay,
Second.
second, let's all vote in favor of the consent agenda minus number 6, okay? And our items for decision, let's do number 6 first. Mr. Rhodes, if you'll come up, and Ms. Williams, if you will.
I just have a couple of questions. I was looking at in reading my materials, on page 50,
One.
there was a specific page I had
Oh, I'm sorry.
highlighted. It was 51, but under the procurement, 61 is what I was looking at.
Okay.
Exactly.
And I don't have those page numbers.
Oh, well, it talks about
You're talking about the
procurement policy as it
yes.
relates to a list of 3 eligible contractors. I have, I wanted to know who determines the eligibility of the contractors, because
All these contractors have to be licensed contractors now, so that's number one. Typically, if they have their license here in North Carolina to actually perform construction responsibilities, they're on our list. However, if we've had issues with them not completing work on time, or there's some other issues, they go off the list for a while. So typically, if they've got their NC North Carolina licensure for a contractor, they're on our list and they're approved.
do you have a tendency to hire the same ones over and over again?
It is a bid process. We've got a closed bid process. Each one of these houses will have a written work write-up to detail what types of items need to be addressed. That's sent out to our contractor list. They submit bids. We have an official bid opening process. Everyone's invited in to witness that. And typically, we'll go with the lower bidders unless that bidder has 2 or 3 items that he's actually bidded on and might be the low bidder each time. We want to also ensure we spread these types of resources around. So it just depends on the situation. Typically, we're looking at the lower bidder that also has a good track record in finishing the work on time and doing good workmanship.
Okay, well, that's what my concerns were. I wanted to make sure that everyone has an opportunity to receive employment through the county.
And if we are
Process.
constantly looking for contractors, so hopefully tonight with your questions, we'll be able to get more people on our bid list.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. Is that it?
Move approval that we need to do something.
Okay, then we do need to vote on that.
Second.
So do we have a motion to approve? Second, all in favor? Okay, it's been approved, Mr. Rhodes. Okay, Ms. Booker?
Move we approve that interlocal.
Second.
Second,
Okay. Any discussion? Okay, let's vote. All in favor, raise your hand, please. Any opposition? Okay, I think we have 100%. And we did number 2, and Mr. Corley, you're back with the housekeeping service contract.
Yes, this
Move
is
we
a,
approve it.
Second.
All right, and this is with the same,
Correct.
the group, the ECVC
Yep.
group, correct, Mr. Corley?
that's correct.
That we've
That's
used
all.
previously. All in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposition? Okay. And Mr. Corley, you're up next.
All right, this is piece of land that actually the county and the city of Greenville own jointly. It is off of Stantonburg Road. They want to acquire this property for the Southwest Bypass. You'll see on the map before you the area that they wish to acquire. If you see the legend there, the right-of-way purchase is the red hashed. The orange checkerboard looking is the remaining, what would be remaining. So .982 acres would be the remaining parcel, and 1.074 would be the property that would be acquired by NCDOT.
Madam Chairman?
Yes,
I make
sir.
a motion, we approve this. We do not want to stop the progress on the Southwest Bypass.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
One question.
Yes, excuse me.
The value of the after remaining land, do you have any idea what you're gonna do with that?
Don't know what the plan is for that. I know that in the appraisal, there was an appraisal done by DOT folks that, they hire, and that was incorporated as to what was the...
Did you broach the idea that it's gonna diminish the value of that?
Yes,
since
that
it's
was
got nothing
incorporated in the
remaining?
cost. That's right.
Why
But there
not
is
sell
about
it
an...
all to the state?
I think there was enough land
Yeah,
that they
there's
do.
too much remaining.
Yeah, there's enough remaining that they, if there was reason that they weren't going to acquire the whole thing, they would just acquire the whole thing. So since there was parcel that could be developed in some shape or form, they don't purchase the whole
We're
thing.
just looking for some more money.
And these funds will be divvied up between the county and the city.
Right. Okay. Entertain a motion.
So
Or do we
moved.
already on number
Yeah.
4?
Yeah, 'cause it's already
Okay,
been
let's
moved.
vote. All in favor? Any opposition? Okay, Mr. Owens? Did you get that, Mr. Attorney? Okay, number 5.
Okay, the next one is another parcel. This is down toward Ayden Township. It's actually a piece of land that the Development Commission was involved in years ago, on my understanding. 2.654 acres remaining after the acquisition of 1.706 acres. 51,175 is the amount.
And this is the parcel that was dedicated to the town of Ayden for the commercialization agriculture, I can't remember the exact name of it,
The
project.
part, yeah. Oh, yeah.
About a
for
year
the-
ago.
Oh.
Contingent upon them landing the project. And also, the resolution stated that any proceeds the county received
Dave wants to say
from
something.
the acquisition by DOT could be
Gotcha.
considered to be given to the town of Ayden, but it didn't say they had to be. I think that would come back to the board at a future time.
Okay, Mr. Hammond made a motion to approve.
Second.
Is there a second? Okay. All in favor, raise your right hand. Any opposition? Okay,
I will just
Did you
mention...
get that?
I'm sorry.
Mr. Attorney, thank you.
I will mention, County Manager, probably we do have one other parcel that will be coming forward for the Southwest Bypass. It is actually a larger parcel near the old landfill site, near the transfer station. I'm working out some details with U.S. Cellular on that. There's actually a leased site that the U.S. Cellular has access to that we're working around getting access back to them after the sale of the property to DOT. So once those details are worked out, we will be bringing that back to you for approval as well.
So you ain't ready for a vote tonight?
Not on that, no, I just wanted to kind of give you a heads up, just so you knew there would be one more that would be coming forward.
Okay, thank you very much. And we now have the appointment and reappointment to the Social Service Board.
Move we appoint the 2 named and indicated on page 98.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, if you'll please raise your right hand. Any opposition? None. We have commissioners' comments. Mr. Hammond, we'll start with you tonight. Any comments?
I like the way this meeting moved tonight, and I'm certainly proud of the progress that was made earlier this evening when we got some more information relative to the
Radio paging. The radio paging.
That's right, with the radio paging process.
Thank you. Mr. Colson?
Yes, as a member of the Mideast RPO, the last two meetings, we've had discussions on the equity component having been removed from the priorities given to road money in the state of North Carolina. Right now is the way they have set it up is it's congestion weighted. In other words, the Piedmont, because they got the bigger cities, they say they got the most congestion, therefore they get most of the money literally by default. So what we're trying to do on the Mideast RPO is to get many of the municipal RPOs as well as all the RPOs in the east and the west, not to be confrontatious with the Piedmont, but basically say, hey, you know, we exist too, raise our hand. And so what I expect to have done by this Thursday, there'll be a resolution written by the Mideast RPO. We will, as members, all have a chance to weigh in on it, and I will be bringing that back to the board here and asking us to draft, and I've already told James Rhodes, he was at the meeting the other day, to be on notice that I would like to see us have a resolution as a county commission, thus that we could get as many county commissions in the east and the west to join together and also, you know, try to go up there as a block vote and be able to say, again, hey, we exist. Unfortunately, is now with the legislature being very heavily dependent upon those in the Piedmont, they've got the votes and they got the majority. And they could outweigh us if they want to. But I think that if we do it with tact and they see a uniformed, what was the word you used when we were talking about this, Glenn? Influence, yes, that's a better word. Yeah, help to influence them to be able to recognize that we have congestion here in North Carolina too. Part of it comes from the Piedmont. This morning I spent almost 2 hours in gridlock in Wilmington trying to get back here, partly because I got lost, but the other part of it is it's just a mess down there.
That's not the Piedmont, that's probably the
Yeah.
reason you got lost.
But in any case, so be aware, there will be a request. Hopefully, we will, as a board, look at that. And certainly Glenn, in his position as the president, can hopefully tactfully do this to where it doesn't alienate. Because, you know, one of his things, if you read his monthly comments, is that he would like to do things that all of the county commissions want to do.
Move into.
Yeah, and, but this, if it's not handled right, could come across wrong. But hopefully that we'll be able to do something to influence a little bit more money coming to the east. The bottom line is, there's just not enough money to go around for all the highway needs. So, having said that.
Good, thank you very much. That sounds very good. Ms. Williams?
Sounds good to me. I hope he gets a good GPS.
Okay. Mr. Owens?
Glenn needs to find something that those in control need, and he can make a trade.
That's right. Mr. McGlaughlin, Mr. Farley?
Nobody to the right has any comments. You are
Okay, is
authorized
that
to
it?
close the meeting.
I actually have
Okay.
one quick.
A motion, yes, sir.
A group of attorneys approached me about a small request. There's some furniture issues at our courthouse where they, in the meeting rooms on the sides, and they don't have adequate furniture, tables to write on and such. And I think the total of it's about $4,200, but the bar's willing to put up some monies on that, and they just asked that we take it under consideration and maybe contact them. And I don't know if they have the same representative working on it or not, but anyhow.
Who is that representative?
Who is it? And maybe we can get our people to get in touch with them and,
It is,
I'm sure they,
Shannon.
I'm sure they can
It's good to
afford the
have
whole
your
bill,
own
but
person
anyway,
on the
we'll.
board, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
The bar presented a request about a year ago. I brought it and showed it to Scott. We were asked to hold it off because the bar had previously bought furniture, and somebody in that courthouse had moved it out to other certain places. Without accusations, they were reluctant to do that. But we got an additional copy the other day. Of course, it's all the same thing. Scott's been looking at it for about a year.
A lot of criminals roam around there too, but we
Okay.
could also pay for the chains to bolt it to the floor so it don't go
But you don't
anywhere.
want me to say who took it.
No.
Okay, so
Is
we'll
a
just
motion
say
to
that
adjourn in
our
order?
Yeah,
manager
just-
will
just
take
so
a
that
look
be
at it.
considered.
Motion
Thank
to
you.
adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Let's all vote, please, for adjournment.
We are
Thank
adjourned.
you, gentlemen and lady.
You